Hello, my name is Austin Meads, and today I will be presenting Youth Development in Sport, which I believe is directly related to Module 3, Youth Athlete Development. Today I am taking on the role of convincing parents or caregivers on why today's youth should use sport as a positive developmental tool and explaining with scientific research why sports have proven to be beneficial. Looking into how young athletes grow with the help of sport and the relation to how sport affects cognitive, character, and physical development. Overall, by showing people why sports really help children grow and develop is what I hope comes across more than anything else in this presentation. This module, in my mind, is not only about physical development, as some articles speak to, but also development as a person and an athlete as one. Therefore, when I dove deep into researching, I considered how and what factors contribute and inhibit an adolescent's developmental aspects, as well as what can be changed. Each of the articles that I found state within the text that it is agreed that studies in youth group cohesion and how teams in sports affect adolescents is hugely beneficial and has been backed up by scientific research. Overall, each article tests in different ways and with different means and factors on how sports develop today's youth, which I will go over more in depth later in the presentation. Before I begin, I want to touch on how having doubts and worries is understandable, but that hopefully teaching how common and hugely praised youth sports are and how very important they are. According to Bruner and Company, about 70% of American youth participated in school or community-based sports. Furthermore, considering those 70%, the California Department of Education states that the first 5 years are especially crucial for physical, intellectual, and social-emotional development. High-quality youth developmental programs include having a safe physical environment, as well as the presence of supportive relationships and positive social norms. What this means is basically having a multitude of people and aspects to positively impact the child and at the very important ages that each are at, and how this will directly relate to how they develop through these ages and later in life. The good points. This area is simply covering generic yet insightful aspects that sports bring into developing youth athletes. The Journal of Character Education article states, sports also allow for social interaction, physical activity, and development in relationships and experiences. Continuing, practice and competition allows for athletes to have the chance to play and exercise multiple times a week, as well as to experience life, adversity, and how to deal with other people. Overall, sports have the potential to promote or inhibit athletes' character. And explaining this, Lloyd and others in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research article stated that sports and athleticism is able to improve health and fitness, enhance physical performance, reduce the relative risk of injury, and develop the confidence and competence of all youth. These are some of the main reasons that children should be enrolled in participating in youth sports, besides the most obvious aspects such as exercising and just being outdoors. The first being coaches. By teaching life lessons and helping youth push through hard times, coaches often end up as positive role models and keys to the next level of sport, or even guides to how to navigate life when it is thrown at them. For example, without my club soccer coach, I'm not sure that I would have been able to get through the hard times that I was having at home, as well as pushing myself to entertain scholarships and college offers, and honestly, without him, I have no idea where I would be at this point. Next up is teammates. Positive teammates help each other by lifting each other up, and playing on a team creates characteristics such as responsibility and accountability, and help the ideology that steel sharpens steel. Competition. Competition is a huge point. It is a driving force for accomplishments and losses, and shows that not everything is just handed to us without working for it. And it makes the good parts so much sweeter, in that by losing together, it also provides room for improvement and growing together. Support. Support comes in many different forms, but young athletes sometimes need a certain amount of motivation to obtain a good level of adherence to sport practice. says the authors of the article entitled Psychological Intervention Program to Control Stress in Youth Soccer Players. The next slide is from the BMC Public Health Forum. It provides a conceptual model for sport experiences and the measures that are involved for children and youth. It brings up different terms and how they play off of and affect adolescents. Some of the most important being the relationships with coaches, parents, and teammates, as well as the motivational climates that each offer. This diagram is from the article Measuring Sport Experiences in Children and Youth to better understand the impact of sport on health and positive youth development, while designing a brief measure for population health surveys. The whole article dives deeply into creating a positive support ring for an adolescent and how by enrolling your son or daughter into sports, you may be opening yourself into a new can of worms that you may not have expected, but it is also potentially opening so many doors and opportunities for your young athlete. Like with most things, unfortunately, there will always be restrictions and drawbacks. In terms of youth sports, the following are some of the most common restrictions. A widespread problem, mainly due to the wide variation in the quality of sports programs, is directly linked to facility and the coaching available. These also go back to the doubts and worries that some parents have, but by understanding these, it's a lot easier to face them head on and combat them. Poor facility resources and equipment limit the amount and types of exercises or training that can be done, which could potentially cause overtraining. There are a bunch of different reasons for overtraining, but one is due to substandard coaching, which in turn can push athletes to burnout, which again, there are other reasons that an athlete may burn out, but the main one is directly linked to overtraining. On the other hand, the constant pushing can also cause certain athletes to be even more driven or determined. But some athletes compromise moral principles and prioritize performance goals because they believe that success is only attributed to what is done on the field, track, or court. Therefore, by being a supportive parent, coach, teammate, or whatever it may be, you really have to understand that there is a line that each athlete has, and each line is different, but making sure that they know that they are so much more than a young athlete is the main thing that will help combat the overtraining or the burning out, or even just the supportive measures that they will feel and understand that it's just more than a sport. It's more that you support them and love them, and you have their back in life itself. However, though, like mentioned in the previous slides, positive support and proper teaching can combat these, and eventually it only leads to positive sport experiences. Sports help children to develop. It's as simple as that. Whether it be in terms of their character, such as developing relationships, building tools to battle adversity, and learning how to overcome those hard parts, or whether it be in the physical development, like taking care of oneself or simply understanding nutrition or exercise, or even just developing into a better person through experiences and life lessons that can be taught or gone through. Sports open adolescents up to opportunities that they would otherwise never have, and sports can truly give any child a helping hand in so many ways to navigate life. Next up is my references and my bibliography. I have 6 different sources that I believe were so beneficial and so helpful in this aspect, because now more than anything else, if I were to have that problem or the opportunity to convince a parent or caregiver that sports are going to be beneficial for their young athlete, that I have those tools, just like sports can give those tools to that young child, whether it be to withstand adversity or to be able to push themselves or just to know themselves in general, because sports give so many opportunities in life, and it opens them up to meeting so many other people that have, whether they've experienced life or they come from different lives. It just steel sharpens steel, and without wind trees wouldn't be strong. There's so many different reasons that an athlete or even just a young child should be in sport. And with all of this knowledge, with scientific research, and with all of these bases that I have now, I think that I have all the tools to really convince someone that sports are great. Sports are beneficial. There's no other way around it. They'll help a young athlete develop, a young child to develop. And yes, there are doubts and worries, whether it be injuries or the overtraining or the burnout. But again, it's life. There's hardships, and with sports, you gain those tools, as well as gain the understanding of all the people around you, respect, responsibility, accountability. Sports all around are more than just kicking or catching a ball. They develop an athlete. Thank you.